For over 38 years, as you watched David Maines and others present the gospel and watched guests be interviewed and musical artists share their abilities, behind the scenes of all of that was our executive producer through those years, George McEachern. And he is with us today, having announced his retirement and celebrating a new transition in his life. And we thought it was perfectly appropriate to bring him on set in front of the camera, where you see him from time to time, but not a lot through the years, to say thank you and reflect upon his life, his ministry here, and for us collectively to say thank you. George, congratulations and thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, you know, I remember my first time at Huntley, and so many people that I say the first time at Huntley, they'll talk about, is that guy George still there?
The guy with the mustache.
That guy with the mustache, George, and you became identified with this program very early. 38 years, but you initially were a little resistant coming to Huntley Street in the early days. Talk about that.
Well, for years I've loved media. Mainly radio, to be honest with you. And I decided that I wanted to go to Ryerson University to study radio and television arts, to be an underground FM disc jockey. That was my goal in life.
Rock and roll, baby.
Yeah, and so I did go to Ryerson,
yeah,
and somehow transitioned into television. Looking back, I could see God's hand on my life for that purpose. And then I graduated from Ryerson, ended up at Global Television, where 100 Huntley Street, to this day, is on and aired, and I used to watch it on TV. I had come to know in the Lord just about 3 years after going to Global Television, and I would see 100 Huntley Street. And I had become a Christian, really solid in the faith and solid in the church. And I felt God calling me to go to Huntley Street. And some people that I worked at Global with and worked at CHCH TV were here on staff at 100 Huntley Street, inviting me to come part of it. And I fought it for a year. And finally, I could see things becoming frustrating for me, just personally, with my purpose in life and goals at Global Television. Great place to work, great organization. But for me, I needed to change. It was my wife who said, I think God's calling you to 100 Huntley Street. And so that's what I needed to hear, because we had just been married 1 year. And so we came along here.
And it didn't just launch the beginning of you and having a relationship with a show, a program, and our audience, but this wonderful long-term relationship with David Maines, our founder.
Oh, yeah. I remember the first day coming here and being so intimidated. I'm a short guy. He's a big guy. He's up in the riser. I'm down on the floor, and I'm looking up there just kind of shuddering. Oh, my goodness, what have I gotten into? And but there was a connectivity that came very, very early. And it was the idea of winning people to Christ. I knew what God had done for me, the transformation. It was dramatic. That was his heart. Yeah. Now, about a year into working here, I remember going to David and saying, I'm not sure as to whether I made the right call coming here, because I loved the church. I loved the local church. And I thought, maybe I should be a pastor. And David said to me, and I've shared this with a lot of my colleagues, it was the thing that kind of said, George, don't you worry. We're going to pastor the nation of Canada over the airwaves. And John, that just hit me. I've never thought of it that way. And so here I was pastoring in a different way through media.
And a very large congregation.
Yeah. I mean, I would have never, to this day, I pinch myself to think that I could bring my love for media, my love for God, my love for news, my love for pop culture, and bring it all together for the glory of God.
Well, we prepared a little video that we thought might be good, that looks back and brings us to the present. Let's take a look at that, and this will be new to you, George, so let's watch this and enjoy it together.
Oh, my.
George McEachern is one of the most hardworking, dedicated people.
He's passionate, he's contagious, always upbeat.
I think to George, the message of the gospel is his heart in everything he does.
Energy, mustache.
I would describe him very loving. You always get a laugh.
The guy is just enthusiastic about everything he loves.
Focused on the church, extreme love for God, and one large Beatles fan.
He was an associate producer with Kingdom Adventure, so it kind of all started with Kingdom Adventure, and that really moved him more into the producing role.
I always felt that that should have been his role, and so when he got it, to me, it was just a fulfillment of his destiny.
Part of Huntley Street's success, obviously, is you and your professionalism and the way in which you approach your job, your skill, your ability to stay current in your thinking and know what's going on in the world, to stay fresh. Obviously, your obedience and your godliness. God has honored that and honored the show because of you.
He was passionate about David Maines and his vision and his ministry heart. He believed in him and he believed in the vision of this organization. And honestly, I would say beyond David, there's nobody that is more passionate about this program or has been other than George McEachern.
The studio on a daily basis as a barometer is to look over and see the prayer lines and see how busy they are. Because to me, that's where my reward comes from. When I see the special people who come in and volunteer their time on the phones and winning people to Christ. I mean, that's why I'm here.
From there, it went to Just for Parents and Open House with Chuck and Jenny, Listen Up with Lorna Dewick.
George was involved with the Journey of Hope. He was involved with the Pavilion of Promise in Germany.
All the way back to Salute to Canada. We went to Washington, many trips to Israel, Cuba.
One of the favorite projects that I've seen George accomplish is launching Full Circle. Well, it was a groundbreaking women's talk show on Christian faith that we had just never seen before.
I had a treat to go with her on her last big shoot, right, Denise?
Yeah.
He has a vision to bridge the generations from the older to the younger.
He uses people's skills to pass it on to others.
I always say to the young people coming in, if there's something that you want to try, just go to George. 9 times out of 10, he'll let you give it a shot.
George, for the people who know him, has a pretty distinct voice in the way he talks. And he would always say to me, Gary, when I was your age, I didn't ask the people like me for permission. I would just grab a camera and I just do it. I just do it, Gary. And I'd get that a lot.
He always wants to do things in a fresh way.
George can motivate people to go beyond, I think, what they think they can do.
You've done so many things. Great personality on the floor, technical skills. You did the Stiller Report and Cross Currents. But what you've meant to me is you've been an encourager. You have that wonderful gift, and you share it so liberally.
He's always had that mentor attitude that someone coming in as an intern, say, or as a new hire wasn't just there to fetch coffee, but they were people to be developed and to be nurtured.
I know he's very passionate about the next generation, and he's passionate about empowering them.
People don't realize that he goes into prisons with groups to proliferate the gospel. He's also had a lot of people come and live in his home.
He's been a brother, a friend, and sometimes even a father.
Countless thousands have found hope in the Lord Jesus Christ because of your faithfulness. And I think we're here to celebrate that when it comes right down to it.
George, I know that retirement is just the next chapter for you, and I know that you're going to bring your enthusiasm and energy to whatever it is that comes next.
I just wish you all the best in retirement. You've really earned it, and you've really left a legacy that you should really be proud of.
In the past, you've encouraged me with so many things that I've done, and I just want to return the favor now and encourage you in this next big step and say, God bless you, my brother, and I know that whatever you do, it'll be amazing.
Wow.
How about that?
Thank you so much. You know what's amazing about that? I know how much work went in to put that together.
Yeah,
I can tell. That's a lot of digging.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of love here for you.
Yeah, you know, Joan Rock said something about that, giving people opportunities.
Yeah.
I don't know. I believe the success of my work here has been what I was taught by David. He allowed me to kind of express my enthusiasm for the Lord's work. And what I've tried to communicate to all these great people, you know, John, as a leader, you're only good as the people around you.
Absolutely.
And I can't tell you how many projects we got into it. I was way over my head, and I knew that. Except that I could go look around and see the people around me say, we can make this happen. We can do this collectively. And David gave me that freedom to be able to kind of mobilize these people. So I'm very, very grateful.
There's so much love and affection for you here, and your DNA, spiritual DNA, your creative DNA is all around us this day and in the days to come. You talk a lot about in your private time as it relates to Huntley. You saw yourself as a bridge, and a bridge or a hinge, where you are to where you want to go. Talk about that a little bit as you look back at this special time.
Well, we've often heard the gospel is only one generation away from being lost. So I knew, here I am pushing 66. That's a long time in broadcasting, over 40 years, that things have to change. And I started at Huntley Street before the computer was even there. So there's been such a dramatic change in technology, in the way we communicate. And what I've really been pleased about is we've kept pace with that. And I've always envisioned that I could leave believing that the next generation would be able to carry on what I and many others have given their life to. There are a lot of long time people being here.
That's right.
And John, I actually feel that we've crossed that bridge, that it's in good hands, and that we have moved the program to the next generation. And so I always say, with the same enthusiasm that I had been given in the early days of my career here, I ask you to have that same enthusiasm and go for it.
And more people are watching 100 Huntley Street every week now than ever before in her history, and you are leaving it in
And that's good news.
That's good news.
Yes.
There is a legacy piece here, too, that your daughter, Melissa, continues on helping me with this program as our executive producer. And we love and appreciate her. And I think we have a little bit here of, do you need to set anything up here?
Just a wee bit. Both our children are adopted, Sarah and Melissa, and love them both dearly. Melissa got the bug for television, I'm sure, on the very first day from the hospital that we brought her here. This little piece that I have asked, and I thank John Luscombe for putting this together. It shows the first day here on 100 Huntley Street. It shows her as a young kid working with Todd Candelon, and then on as a teenager into the Warehouse production. So this is it here.
How well we remember the day here at 100 Huntley Street when our floor manager, George McEachern, and his lovely wife had a very, very special and blessed event. The very first day when they welcomed Melissa McEachern. And there's George and Joyce and very special little Melissa that they adopted, their very special chosen child. Isn't she beautiful, ladies and gentlemen? Will you welcome, please, George and Joyce McEachern. And Melissa.
They call us the greatest entertainment center on earth. Just think of it. The greatest orchestras and bands, world-class sporting events, you name it, they got it all here.
Todd, if the king wanted to visit me, wouldn't he just want to be my friend? Even though he was the king.
I don't understand what you mean, Melissa.
I've never been to these fancy places before. I'm just an ordinary person.
I think we're on the right track now. Come on, Melissa.
You guys meet with hundreds of teenagers, thousands, and what do you think really our generation is hungering for? What are we longing for? How, meeting with people, what do you guys get the impression?
I think they're really longing to see a sense of realness. They're longing to see, reality and people being honest and open. And I think
our generation is asking a lot of questions, Our generation wants to find out something that's real.
Years ago we used to sing that song, "May those that come behind us find us faithful."
Yeah.
And Melissa looks back and sees what you've done here, as all of us have. We just thank God for your faithfulness, George.
Thank you.
Day after day creating a program. This started out as a 90-minute program, right?
Oh, yeah.
Imagine that. You did it. I have to imagine that. I know what it's like to try to put together a half hour or an hour, but 90 minutes every single day.
Only possible with the team. One thing about television, you know this, it's team effort. You need a lot of people to make this work and come together. And we've been so blessed here at 100 Huntley Street to have faithful, dedicated, and committed people who have the same purpose.
What's next for you?
I'm still trying to figure that out, to be honest with you. I mean, as Joan had mentioned about prison ministry, and we do have a lot of people in our house, so there's that aspect of my life that I know will never go away. I want to kind of find one volunteer thing a week, some physical activity.
Yeah.
So, and then, okay, God, what is it? Yeah. What would you have for me? I don't know. I mean, I just want to rejoice in the fact that I'm leaving well, and that I'm leaving it in good hands. And I know I mentioned about Melissa, a bug. It's more than a bug to her. She caught the bug, but it's a passion. It's her love for Jesus herself, and to see others come to know Jesus. That's important. That's what we're all about here.
Well, the passion for this television program continues with Melissa and with so many that you have trained and passed on for the legacy, for your excellence, for your passion, for your love for Jesus Christ, for your leadership, creativity, for everything you are. We give thanks to God, and we give thanks to you. God bless you, George.
God bless you, too.
God bless you.
We'll be in touch.
That's right. That's right.